Lego and racing. Two words that have been associated with each other for a very long time now, albeit through Lego video games or the physical product. Lego and racing are two things which should stay together, to be honest. There have been several Lego racing video games over the years, from the original two Lego Racers to the brand new Lego 2K Drive. But there are also a couple that we don't talk about so much. There's Lego Stunt Rally, and there's the other curiosity, Lego Drome Racers. Okay, so this is Drome Racers, or what some people may call Lego Racers 3. It was developed by Attention to Detail, who developed the first two games, and was published by EA and Lego Interactive. It was released in late 2002. In fact, it's actually just coming up for the 21st anniversary of this game, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I'm so old now.
Anyway, so this was released for PlayStation 2 and Windows PCs. It was later ported to GameCube, and a spin-off was also released for Game Boy Advance, which was developed by Mobius Entertainment. Now, apologies for the shift in perspective there, but the game you're seeing on the screen is the PS2 version of Drome Racers. Now, a good friend of mine actually suggested this video idea to me, and lent me a copy of the game for PC, and I thought, oh, fantastic. Drome Racers, PC, awesome. You know, the Fun Club, we all remember those. And I thought, okay, lovely, I can put the disc in. Until I came to my PC and realised there's no disc drive. So I've had to get the PS2 version instead, and later we will see a bit of the GameCube as well. But I have got the game working on my old laptop, but I have no way to record it. So just as a quick apology, I do apologise this wasn't put in the video. Moving on. Okay, so at the time, this game was set in the not too distant future in the year of 2015. However, obviously this was 8 years ago now, so oh, it's making me feel even more old. The cars you drive are based upon the 2002 Lego racing toys, which hopefully should be on the screen now. Now, let's start to look at the career mode of this game. It puts you as a member of Team Nitro named Max Axel. I don't know what it is with the early 2000s and late 90s with their cringy protagonist called Max, but there we go. Max Axel, or Maxel to his friends, are up to the challenge of winning the Drome Championship. There are several members of Team Nitro that will help you along the way that look like this.
Holy God, what are you showing me? Come on!
Now, I can hear lots of you asking, what is Drome? Now, the Drome isn't a type of car or a racer or a race. It's literally a giant dome that has all the environments in the game where the racing takes place. It's just a big dome. Anyway, before we get too caught up in the lore of Drome Racers, let's talk about the gameplay. Drome Racers, it's interesting. It's not quite like the previous two Lego Racers. There's a lot of skill involved with the driving, and there's also knowing when to use the weapons. It's chaotic, but in a good way. There are two standard types of races, which is on-road and off-road, and before each cup, there's also qualifying drag races, which break up the gameplay a little bit. It's quite refreshing when you do get there, once you figure it out, because the game doesn't really explain to you how they work, but it's good fun.
Just one question. Do you happen to know how to fly this thing?
Now, the next question is, how do the cars handle?
Fucking dreadful.
Now, the answer to that is, well, kind of meh. The off-road races, they handle fine, they're okay, nothing particularly bad about it. The on-road races, however, it takes a lot of getting used to. When I mentioned skill being involved earlier, there is a level of skill involved because the cars are not easy to control. Certainly not on the road. You'd think it'd be the other way around, but no. On the roads, you have to constantly adjust for a lot of sensitivity issues. While you're on the roads, when you're turning, the cars do have a tendency not to completely spin out, but they start to skid around a lot. For no real reason either, it's quite frustrating. Once you get used to that though, it is a good time. Now, graphically, I think this game holds up really nicely. It captures the essence of the toys it's based on. The environments look really clean, really nice. I didn't encounter any graphical issues whilst I was playing. All in all, I just think it's a really decent looking game, especially considering it came out in 2002. If we compare it to other races that came out in 2002, like Hot Wheels Velocity X, which I have covered before, I would say this looks a lot better. Now obviously graphics aren't everything, but it's always nice to look at something nice, so moving on. Okay, so what seems to be part of the course with a lot of the games we're playing on this channel is the reviews for this game were rather mixed.
So, you know, mixed, let's call it mixed reviews.
The PS2 version of the game sits at 57 out of 100 on Metacritic, with the PC version sitting at 65. Now, the GameCube version launched with extra features, but that one actually scored lower at 54 out of 100. Interestingly, the spin-off or conversion of Drome Racers for the Game Boy Advance scored higher than all the others with 73 out of 100. So we'll look into that a bit later on in the video. Now, whilst we're on the topic of my beloved GameCube, Drome Racers for the GameCube actually featured some enhancements from the other two, including an extra power-up that was not in the other versions and a 2-player battle mode. Nothing major or fancy, but it's still cool that they added additional features for the game. The battle mode actually uses a unique car that can't be used in normal races, and that obviously was not on the other two versions of the game, which was a modified version of the Nitro Pulverizer LEGO set. Which is just another cool little fact. Now, as I mentioned before, the conversion of Drome Racers for the Game Boy Advance was actually the highest scoring version of the game. Now, let's just dig a little deeper as to why this could be. Now, it's important to note that this was developed by a different developer called Mobius and was published by THQ rather than EA. Okay, so Mobius really went above and beyond for this game. Now, bear in mind, the Game Boy Advance is not a console known for its 3D graphics. They created a fairly impressive 3D polygonal engine using the Game Boy hardware, which is not very easily done. The game featured 18 races, 18 tracks, and included track and drag racing, and it had the impressive feature, which sounds silly now, but you could save the game to your cartridge, so you could save your data, because a lot of old Game Boy games used codes rather than actual saves. So this is impressive at the time. It also featured link cable support to up to 4 players if you had 3 other friends who also owned this game. The bottom line is, the GBA version deserved all the praise that it got. It's very impressive. Yes, it's a simplistic kiddie racing game, but the technicalities behind it and the features that were put in for such a small spaced cartridge, it's very impressive, I have to say. On a side note, before we enter the final section of this video, any game that starts with the following intro, I would say, is an absolute win in my books. Okay, so the final part of these games, we always look at some hidden things that might be stashed away in the code, or any things they could have potentially removed from the game before it came out. Now, there aren't really too many exciting things that have been hidden away here. There's certainly no features that were removed or hidden cars in the game, but there are a few interesting text files hidden away within executables and system folders. There's an interesting one in the system folder that just has some absolutely horrendous spelling. I'll put it on the screen, but it starts to read as, "kept this fill up to dat." An executable called boot.dol has some interesting error strings as well, which I shall put on the screen. One of them reads, "This will be arse now, not implemented, or rather, it's bugged to hell." Another good one reads, "Do I need to be in here?" And "should never get here."
Have Have you got what it takes to conquer the Drome? 36 raceways, 3 terrains, 1 winner.
So you can fix her up, right?
Drome Racers now on PC and PlayStation 2.
Now, this takes us to the end of our look at Drome Racers today. What do you guys think of this game? Because the reviews are so mixed, I would imagine there's a lot of people nostalgic for it. I honestly had quite a good time playing it. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so let me know. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to press like, subscribe, tap the bell for notifications, all of the usual stuff. It always helps, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.